Hello there, I'm Posh Boy Vapes. Welcome back to the channel. It's great to have you here. Today I'm going to talk to you about this, the EFOG Gallop. Now, EFOG is a subsidiary or a new offshoot of Horizon Tech. And Horizon Tech, of course, the people who brought us the Falcon tank range. So when this turned up, I thought, Horizon Tech subsidiary, they've got to be good on flavour. And if there's anything else, nothing else this pod does, then it's got to be flavour. So does it perform? Only one way to find out. Let's have a dive down, see what you get in the box, and then let's come back up and talk about it, shall we? Here we go. All right, so here we are close up with the Gallop pod from EFOG, who are an offshoot of Horizon Tech, who make the famous Falcon series of tanks. We get inside a device, a coil, a USB cable, a user manual and a warranty card, got an authenticity sticker there, QR code there, barcode there, and a 2000 milliamp hour internal battery. So let's have a look inside the box, shall we? And see what we get. So there's the pod itself. Take it out here. Let's have a look. I rather like this design actually, and this sort of matching colour in the body. And Gallop branding on the screen there. A nice sort of shield-shaped, try saying that quickly after a few points, shield-shaped fire button and up and down buttons, which have got an amount of click to them, but not too noisy there. That's all right. And our pod at the top there with top fill. We like, great start. Okay, and we can see there's a coil already in there. Also in the box, as expected, you get your warranty card, you get your battery care guide card, you get your user manual with colour pictures, impressive. You get a spare coil. Does it say what it is? We'd have to look up close at what that is. And we get a decent sized USB-A to USB-C charging cable. Happy days. Now, EFOG or Horizon Tech were kind enough to include some spare coil packs for me. And here we have the two spare coil packs they sent, the S-mesh coil and the T-mesh coil. Now, as you'll see, they're just both rated at 0.4 ohms, both rated 30 to 35 watts. But the difference is here in the shape of the mesh. Now, it's a net style mesh, obviously. This one's quite wide, this one's quite narrow. I think it's going to be down to testing them and seeing how they perform as to which one produces better flavour and which juice it works best with, whether it works with a 70-30 juice or with a Nick salt. At this kind of wattage, I'm expecting a 70-30 juice is probably going to be where we're going to go with this. All right, let's get in up close on the device then. So measurements, by the way, we'll put the proper ones on the screen, but essentially it's 100 millimeters tall, it's 33 millimeters deep, and it's 23 millimeters wide. At the top here is our pod removable section, which is held in by some decent magnets. Yeah, so those magnets there are very strong. We've got the remove tab from the coil there, we'll take that off, fine. And we've got our contacts there, so the center pin being the positive on the coil and the two outer ones being the negative returns. And we've got this adjustable airflow here, which I've tried without any juice in. You can't tell a lot of difference, but I guess we'll see once we put juice in it, we'll find out what it's really like. That's quite stiff as well, so that suggests to me it's not going to move too easily when it's in use, and that's good. The drip tip is fixed, of course, into the pod head at the top, which is kind of what you'd expect for a device like this. Those magnets are pretty decent, and the fill port is usual sort of rubber bung style, and we can fill in there, and we'll see how we get on with the bottle of juice in a minute. Got fluff on it already. Okay, down the bottom we've got some battery venting designed by EFOG and our CE marks, and there is our USB-C charging port. Okay, usual 5 clicks on to turn it on. Yep, here we go. Up comes the screen with EFOG. It's thinking about it, and it tells us on the screen. We've got an E there. I don't know if that's branding. We'll find out in a minute. We've got a battery bar and percentage, which is good. We've got wattage and a locking symbol, time of the last puff, puff counter, and the applied voltage across the coil and the resistance of the coil therein. And sure enough, when we hold down this button, max power is 50 watts. Does it round robin? No, it does not. So the operation of the device, usual firing button there. If you set your wattage, let's say I set 45 watts, and then I hold down the plus and minus buttons together, it locks the wattage. We see the little padlock symbol come up there. When I try and change it, it says wattage locked. And I hold them down again for 2 seconds and it says wattage unlocked, and I can change it again. That's great. Holding fire and minus together will clear the puff counter. Holding fire and plus together does nothing. And hitting the fire button 3 times will change the colour. So we've got a sort of purpley colour there, and then white, red, yellow, and green. So those are the colours available on the display. To change your coil, it's simply just a push-fit coil. So we just pull it out like such. And these don't look like any other coils from other pods, so I'm guessing this is a proprietary design. And we can see our net style mesh down there and a big thick bunch of cotton, and our juice flow ports on the side and O-rings here. And you can see that it's flattened there and there, and as such you need to install it with the flat edges here and here. So when I put it in like that, although it will push in a bit, that's not quite right. We need to align it properly like such, and then push it all the way home, and that's now installed correctly. So let's get some juice in it, and we're going to use Zeus Juice Black Reloaded, berries, blackcurrant and menthol, which is a firm favourite of mine and is bright purple. But I've been looking for something recently that will bring out this thing's flavour. And I'm thinking, given what I know about Horizon Tech, just prime that a bit more, a couple more drops. Given what I know about Horizon Tech and the flavour that they can produce, I'm hoping this will do the trick. So we'll push that home in the right position, and now let's open our fill port. That's a decent bung as well, it stays put, and see how we get on filling it up. And the good news is that goes in very easily. You can see the nozzle of the bottle goes in quite comfortably there, no problem. I think you might struggle if you had a 100ml bottle. With a 50ml, no problem. And obviously with anything smaller, of course, no problem. And this pod is I think it's a 2ml pod. I'll have to check the official specs. I'll put it on the screen if it's something other than 2ml. There we go, that's full up. I'm going to sit back, leave that to sit for 5 to 10 minutes to prime properly, and then we'll take it for a vape. So there you go, that was the unboxing and the close-up look for the Horizon Tech, or EFOG, a Gallop pod. I suppose you could call it an AIO or a pod mod, depending on what you want to choose. It's not strictly a pod, so to speak. It's more of an AIO. But there we go. Does it perform on flavour? That's what we're here to know. Well, let me just check. You know what? For a device of its size and power, yes. Yes, it does. Now, it has, or it says it has, a 2000 milliamp hour battery inside, which, considering it weighs about as much as a postage stamp, is quite impressive. And I would say that the battery is lasting. Now, the last AIO I had on this channel was, of course, the Manic from Wotofo. And that thing, as you saw, although it had an external battery, making it more of a pod mod, that thing just chewed through battery. This, with its internal 2000 milliamp hour battery, which is less than a normal 18650, and only putting out the same amount of power, 35 watts, which is the most that these coils will go to, yeah, actually, the battery's lasting, and it delivers. Yeah, I'm suitably impressed. So what can I say? Well, I should say thank you, first of all, of course, to Horizon Tech and EFOG for sending it over for the purposes of review. My thanks to you. It is available in 5 colours. It has 2 types of coil, as you saw, the T-mesh and the S-mesh. Now, they're both rated the same in terms of resistance. They're both rated the same in terms of power suggestion. And indeed, the automatic power won't let you go above 35 watts on this. And having tested them both, I am going to say the S mesh just edges over the T mesh in terms of flavour. I know edges over is the wrong one. Actually, S mesh quite considerably outperforms the T mesh in terms of flavour. And yes, eFog were gracious enough to send me both types of coil and a pack of each. Yeah, I think the S mesh just takes the lead there. So flavour is good. Cloud is half decent, as you saw. It's good enough, really. What doesn't it do? It is a little bit weak, okay? Now, I've got the same juice in this as I was testing, or I've been testing recently, in the Watofo Profile M RTA, which you're going to see is going to be the next video up after this. Now, yes, that's an RTA. It's a mesh RTA. Well, this is a mesh pod mod, or AIO. So you'd think, well, would mesh perform the same? No, they're completely different shapes, completely different power outputs. It's not going to be the same. But I thought it'd be interesting to try the same juice in both to see how the flavour corresponded. This is weaker, it's cooler, it's a lot cooler. If you like a hot vape, even from an AIO like this isn't going to do for you. It is quite cool. But it doesn't necessarily need the heat to produce the flavour. The amount of air going through it and the style of the coil is still producing a decent enough amount of flavour for the size of device. So yes, it's a little bit weaker than you might expect. But again, up against that Manic Pod mod, it's considerably better actually. It really is. It is putting out much, much better flavour. What else is there not to like? The airflow. This sort of little tab here that adjusts the airflow. I mean, yeah, okay, so there's a sound difference. Flavour difference? If anything, it's better with the airflow open. I'm finding it just sort of mutes the flavour right down if you pull down the airflow. But I think my experience with mesh is always to get lots and lots of air over it to help the flavour develop. That works for me anyway. And the only other thing that's possibly going to put me off would be the price point. So in the UK, it's about £32, which is just about the limit for a little simple AIO like this. If it comes with more coil selections, more than both these coils that only do 0. Whatever it was, 0.4 ohms and only go up to 35 watts. If it comes with some other coils perhaps, or they develop other coils, or even if they develop an RBA section, that'd be nice. And then, okay, I could just about justify that price. £32. In the US, $49 I've seen. And in Australia, $60. I haven't actually found a euro price yet, not for want of trying. I ran out of search results before I found a euro price. Maybe that's just me. If you've seen it available in Europe and you know the price, please put it down in the comments below. I'd be very interested to know. I'm sure all of the other viewers would too. So the price is perhaps a little on the higher end. But then again, let's look at other AIOs and other pod mods out there, especially with built-in battery. I don't know, the Drag S, for example, which, is a firm favourite of mine, and, sits in my pocket all day long. Well, no, goes around with me in my pocket. I use it. You get my point. The Drag S is £30 to £35 as well, but I feel like the Drag S has got a bit more performance, and you've got that huge range of coils available to you, plus an RTA pod, plus an RBA deck. In fact, there's about 3 different RBA decks from different manufacturers apart from Vupu. So, yeah, I kind of think, well, for the Drag S, I'm okay paying that. And it feels like it's a bit more significant. Although this is this is nice in the hand, this sort of gently rubberized feel that gives it a bit of grip. And the funky design, I love the design. And there's 5 different colours available. And it weighs, like I said, it weighs nothing. And for its size, it's dinky, really. So I guess £32 is kind of borderline. If you'd said to me it was 28, I know it's only £4 difference, but it's all psychological, isn't it? Just below that threshold of £30. If you'd said to me it was $29.99, I would have said okay. But when you say to me it's $31.99, I'm on the fence, if I'm honest. That's up to you. Depends what your budget is. So, having said all that, would I take a Drag S over this? Not necessarily. I like the Drag S, I really do. Like I said, it's been a favourite for a long time. But if this was the only thing available, yeah, I could choose this. I could. And yeah, like I said, I like the feel, I like the weight, I like the look. And for what you get, yeah, I do like the vapour out of it as well. So, yeah, overall, I'm happy enough with it. Yeah, I have to say. So my thanks again to eFog for sending it over. And that's kind of going to wrap it up for this little beastie here. My thanks to you for watching and joining me on the channel. Do give us a like. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. Hit the familiar red button in the bottom right-hand corner there. And if you'd like to see more of my work and follow us elsewhere, then you can do so on Instagram. Link appearing on the screen right now. And if you'd like to support the channel's work, as you know this channel is not externally funded at all, then please do consider supporting me by subscribing to the one of various levels on Patreon, link also appearing on the screen right now. I must do my advocacy piece as I always do. Remember, all the advice currently out there states vaping is at least 95% safer than smoking combustible cigarettes. You know it's got what got me away from smoking, and I hope it does good for you too. And right now, more than ever, vape shops need your support, because with the UK in lockdown and a lot of the rest of the world too, a lot of vape shops can't trade on the high street. So they're being forced to trade online. Some of them have even had to close altogether. So please do remember to support your local vape shop and always turn to them for independent, reliable advice and watch reviews like mine and other reviewers out there. I've been Posh Boy Vapes. Cheers.